On the shores of the Mediterranean, the Tartus naval facility stands as a testament to Russian ambition. For decades, it has been Moscow's sole Mediterranean outpost, a symbol of its naval reach. Further inland, Khmeimim Air Base has become a hub of Russian air power, projecting force across the skies of Syria and beyond. These two bases, Tartus and Khmeimim, are not mere military installations. They are the pillars upon which Russia's strategic gamble in Syria rests. The Kremlin's intervention in 2015 was more than just propping up the Assad regime, it was a bold declaration. Russia was back on the world stage, a major power willing to assert itself. These bases, won and maintained at a cost of Russian blood and treasure, were the tangible evidence of that ambition. They were to be Russia's bridgeheads, securing its influence in a region long coveted by global powers. But what happens when the ground beneath those pillars begins to shift? What becomes of these strategic assets when the very regime they were meant to safeguard crumbles? The fall of Bashar al-Assad, a prospect once unthinkable, now looms as a stark possibility. The future of Russia's Syrian adventure and its prized bases hangs precariously in the balance. For years the Assad regime, brutal and unyielding, seemed immovable. Backed by Russian air power and Iranian ground forces, it had weathered the storm of rebellion and insurgency. But every regime, no matter how entrenched, has its breaking point. The cracks in Assad's facade have been widening for years, the result of economic collapse, relentless internal strife, and the exhaustion of its allies. The final blow, however, may come not from armed rebels but from within. Rumors of dissent within the regime's inner circle, whispers of coups and power struggles have been swirling for months. Should Assad fall, be it through internal strife or a decisive rebel offensive, the impact on Syria would be seismic. A power vacuum of unimaginable proportions would emerge, one ripe for exploitation by a multitude of actors. Into this chaotic void step a kaleidoscope of faction-seasoned rebel groups, Kurdish militias, extremist organizations, and opportunistic warlords, each with their own agenda, their own vision for a post-Assad Syria. For Russia, this presents a strategic dilemma of the highest order. The neat narrative of supporting an allied regime has been replaced by the messy reality of navigating a fractured and unpredictable landscape. The instinct to dig in, to reinforce and defend what has been won at such a high price, will be strong in the halls of the Kremlin. The loss of Tartus and Khmeimim would be a stinging blow to Russian prestige, a public admission of defeat in a region where Moscow has staked its claim as a resurgent power. Reinforcing these bases, pouring in more troops, armor, and advanced weaponry, would send a clear message: Russia is not backing down. It would signal to both rivals and potential allies that Moscow is willing to commit whatever is necessary to protect its interests. Such a move would not be without risk. It could escalate tensions with other regional players, potentially dragging Russia into a wider conflict. The Syrian quagmire has already claimed countless lives and billions of dollars. Doubling down on a military solution carries the very real danger of turning a costly intervention into an open-ended conflict. There is a cold, pragmatic logic to the argument for withdrawal. With Assad gone, the original rationale for intervention, propping up a friendly regime, evaporates. Holding on to bases in a country fractured by civil war, surrounded by hostile factions, could quickly become untenable. A strategic withdrawal, while a blow to Russian pride, would allow the Kremlin to cut its losses and refocus its resources elsewhere. It would extricate Russia from the Syrian quagmire, freeing it from the burden of propping up a collapsing state. The optics of retreat, however, would be difficult to manage. Russia's rivals, particularly in the West, would seize upon it as proof of Moscow's waning influence, its inability to shape events on the world stage. The decision to stay or go will hinge on a multitude of factors: the speed and nature of Assad's fall, the intentions of the emerging power brokers, and the potential costs of a prolonged military commitment. Section 5. A seat at the table. Negotiating with Syria's new power brokers. In the chaotic aftermath of Assad's fall, Russia, despite its diminished position, will still hold valuable cards. Its bases, Tartus and Khmeimim, will remain strategic assets, coveted by the new masters of Damascus. This leverage could be used to negotiate a continued presence, albeit in a reimagined form. Russia could offer security guarantees, military aid, or economic investment in exchange for the right to maintain its bases. Such an arrangement would require a delicate balancing act, playing factions against each other while avoiding the appearance of propping up a new puppet regime. The success of any negotiated settlement will depend on Russia's ability to adapt to the new realities of Syria. Gone are the days of dealing with a single, albeit brutal, regime. The Kremlin will need to master the art of multi-track diplomacy, engaging with a disparate array of actors, each with their own agendas and ambitions. It will be a high-stakes game, fraught with risk, but one that Russia, with its long history of navigating complex geopolitical landscapes, is uniquely positioned to play. Section 6. Ghosts of Empire: The Scenario of Abandonment. The most dramatic and perhaps the most destabilizing scenario is one of complete abandonment. Imagine Syrian rebel forces, flush with victory, marching on Tartus and Khmeimim. Russian personnel, outnumbered and outgunned, are forced to evacuate in haste, leaving behind valuable equipment and a trail of shattered prestige. Such a scenario, while not inconceivable, remains unlikely. Russia has invested too much blood and treasure in Syria to simply walk away without a fight. However, should the situation deteriorate rapidly, should the cost of holding on become too high, the Kremlin may be left with no other choice. The abandonment of Tartus and Khmeimim would send shockwaves through the region and beyond. It would be a potent symbol of the limits of Russian power, a stark reminder of the perils of overreach in a volatile and unpredictable world.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want
the global order. It will be a test of wills, a strategic chess match with the highest of stakes. Section 8. The Bear's Retreat: Repercussions for Russia's Global Standing. The narrative of Russian resurgence, carefully cultivated by Vladimir Putin, has taken a hit in recent years. The quagmire in Ukraine, the economic sanctions, and the diplomatic isolation have all chipped away at the image of a resurgent Russia. The loss of Syria, should it come to pass, would be a significant blow to Moscow's global ambitions. It would signal that Russia, for all its military might and bluster, remains a shadow of its former superpower self. The limits of hard power, of projecting force in far-flung corners of the globe, would be laid bare. However, it would be premature to write off Russia as a spent force. The Kremlin, under Putin's leadership, has proven to be a master of adaptation, of turning setbacks into opportunities. A forced retreat from Syria, while a blow, could also be a chance for a strategic reset. Russia could use its remaining leverage to negotiate a face-saving exit, one that preserves some of its interests while extricating it from a costly and increasingly untenable commitment. Section 9. Syria's Unwritten Chapter: A Call for Reflection. The future of Syria, once a land of ancient history and vibrant culture, hangs precariously in the balance. The fall of the Assad regime, once unthinkable, now seems all but inevitable. The question is not if, but when, and at what cost. For Russia, the stakes are high. Its Syrian gamble, once a bold assertion of power, now teeters on the brink. The fate of its bases, Tartus and Khmeimim, will be a key indicator of Moscow's ability to shape events in this volatile region. As we watch this drama unfold, it is worth reflecting on the human cost of this conflict. Millions displaced, countless lives lost, a generation scarred by war. The Syrian people, caught in the crossfire of global power plays, deserve a chance at peace. A chance to rebuild their shattered lives. The world, too, must learn from the mistakes of the past. Intervention, however well-intentioned, often carries unintended consequences. The road to hell, as the saying goes, is paved with good intentions. What will be the final chapter in Syria's tragedy? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the world is watching, and the stakes could not be higher. What are your thoughts on the future of Russia's presence in Syria? Share your insights and predictions in the comments below.